There's a house in West Tennessee sitting on 16 acres of it. 16. A creek runs the back line, and the whole thing, house and land together, is priced at about what a decent used truck cost. That's number 13 on this list. It probably won't be there by the time you finish this video. But we're not starting there. We're starting somewhere even cheaper. Because nobody's saying this part out loud. Tennessee is still one of the last states in the country where a regular person can buy a real home with real land and not spend the rest of their life paying it off. No state income tax, property taxes that are among the lowest anywhere, and prices that, in the right county, still start with numbers you'd swear were typos. The catch is right there in the title. Not for much longer. Tennessee is one of the fastest growing, stickiest states in America. People move here and they don't leave. So the deal you're looking at today might not exist in the same shape next year. So I went looking, not at the glossy listings the algorithm shows you first, the real ones, the ones down the gravel roads, in the counties the maps forget, where a family finally decided to sell the old home place. 15 homes with land swept across the cheapest corners of the state, every price real, every catch honest. Some of these will make you laugh out loud at the number. A couple will make you a little sad, because you'll realize you waited too long on a state you should have bought into 5 years ago. Let's start at the bottom, where it's cheapest, and climb our way up to a place on a ridge you will genuinely not want to leave. Before we do, 3 rules. Every property on this list had to pass all 3, no exceptions. 1. It has to be a real livable home, not a bare patch of dirt with a mailbox and a dream, even if the house needs work. 2. It has to come with real acreage, land you can actually walk across and call yours. And 3. The price has to still be in reach for a normal person with a normal job. And every single one comes with one honest catch, said right out loud. Sometimes that catch is the house itself. Sometimes it's the road that gets you there. Sometimes it's a flood map you'd better read twice. And sometimes the catch is the hardest one of all, which is that the growth is coming for that county next. And that's the exact reason it's still this cheap today. Fair warning, by the time you get to number 8, you're going to understand why I keep talking about a clock. All right, number 15 takes us to McNairy County, down in the far southwest corner of the state, brushing right up against the Mississippi line. This is the fixer floor, the absolute bottom of what livable means. We're talking a small frame house on a little under 2 acres, tucked off a county road outside Selmer, priced at around $34,000. $34,000, that's not a down payment. That's the whole thing. Now, you're not moving in this weekend. I want to be straight with you. The roof has seen better decades. The kitchen is a project, and the wiring is a conversation you'll want to have with a professional. There's a bathroom that I'd charitably call optimistic. But the bones are there, the well works, the septic passed last time it was checked, and you've got just under 2 acres of quiet with old pecan trees in the yard and enough room out back for a garden and a shed and a dog to run. Property tax on a place like this runs you a couple $100 a year. Not a month, a year. Tennessee's property taxes are among the very lowest in the country, and on a small rural parcel like this one, that bill barely registers. And the state takes nothing out of your paycheck, because there's no income tax here at all. Every dollar you earn is a dollar you keep, the honest catch. This is a full renovation, not a move-in, and you should walk in knowing that. You'll spend real money and real weekends making it right. But think about where you're starting, $34,000. You could sink another $40,000 into it and still own a home with land for less than a lot of people spend on a truck to tow their nothing. The rougher deal, believe it or not, is the one right around the corner, and it comes with water. Number 14 moves us north to Benton County, up near the water. Kentucky Lake Country, and this one's prettier. A modest ranch house on about 5 acres, some of it cleared, some of it woods, with the kind of morning fog off the water that makes people fall in love with this part of the state. Around $49,000. 5 acres. A lake you can reach in 10 minutes with a boat trailer. A house you could actually live in while you fix up the rest at your own pace. For under 50 grand, in most of the country, that number doesn't buy you a parking spot, let alone a parking spot with a bass fishery down the road. The taxes stay low. The same quiet story you'll hear all the way down this list. A few $100s a year on a place like this. And there's no state income tax draining what you earn, which matters even more if you're planning to retire out here on a fixed check. But here's the honest catch, and it's a real one, so don't skip it. Part of that pretty acreage is bottomland, and bottomland near a big lake floods. Pull the maps before you fall in love. When the water comes up in spring, some of that back property goes under, and what looks like a meadow in July is a wetland in March. It's cheap for a reason, and that's the reason. Buy the high ground, walk away from the low, and you've still got a steal. Which brings us to the one I teased at the very start of this video. Number 13. This is the one. Chester County, 16 acres, and a livable farmhouse for right around $62,000. Let me say that slower. 16 acres of Tennessee, with a house you can sleep in tonight for about what a used pickup costs off the lot. The land is the whole story here. Rolling pasture that catches the light in the evening, a hardwood tree line along the ridge, and a creek along the back that runs most of the year. You could run a few head of cattle on it. Tomorrow, you could put in a garden the size of a football field and still have room left over. There's a spot on the rise where somebody, some years back, clearly used to park a chair and watch the sun go down, and you'll understand why the first time you stand there. The farmhouse itself is dated, but honest, real wood floors under the old carpet, a wraparound porch built back when porches were built for sitting and staying. No income tax on anything you earn. Property taxes on 16 rural acres that still come in under what a lot of people pay for their phone bill in a single month. Read that again and let it land. The catch. It's remote. Real remote. You're on a gravel road, deep in a holler, and the nearest real grocery store is a proper drive, not a quick run. Internet will take some figuring. If you need neighbors within shouting distance and food on your porch in 30 minutes, this is not your place, and I'd rather tell you that now than have you find out in February. But if you've been lying awake, dreaming about waking up to nothing but birdsong and your own 16 acres of Tennessee, this is about as close as the open market gets. And it will not last the season. Number 12 is where the houses start getting nicer. Number 12 takes us east to Hardeman County. And here the house gets nicer. This is a brick ranch on 10 acres, built solid back in the 70s, 3 bedrooms, a real kitchen, a barn out back, about $75,000. This is the sweet spot for a lot of people watching right now. You don't have to be a contractor. You don't have to spend a year with a tool belt on before you can host Thanksgiving. You can move in, breathe, unpack the boxes, and do projects on the weekends because you want to, not because the roof is leaking on your head. 10 acres of barn already standing, and a brick house that's sitting straight and square after 50 years. Same tax picture as the rest of the list. Low property tax, no state income tax, more of your money staying in your own pocket where it belongs instead of going to a state house. The honest catch on this one has nothing to do with the house. The house is the easy part. What should give you pause is the county itself. Hardeman is one of the corners of Tennessee the growth simply hasn't reached yet. Jobs are thin on the ground. The town's quiet, and for some folks it'll be a little too quiet on a Sunday afternoon. But understand what that quiet is. That quiet is exactly why this is still $75,000. The day that changes, and in Tennessee that day comes for every county eventually. This price is a memory. Now we climb up out of West Tennessee and onto the plateau where the whole landscape changes on you. Number 11. Buren County, up on the Cumberland Plateau, in the shadow of Fall Creek Falls, the tallest waterfall east of the Rockies. And this is where the scenery changes on you. Hardwood forest, bluffs, waterfalls you can hike to on a Saturday, a cabin-style home on about 6 acres of woods, around $89,000. Imagine this for a second. You wake up, you pour your coffee, you carry it out onto the deck, and the loudest thing you hear all morning is a woodpecker working a dead oak somewhere down the slope. No traffic, no neighbors backing out of driveways. Just 6 wooded acres and the mountain doing what it's done for 10,000 years. That's what this buys you for under 90 grand. It's state park living without the state park price tag. And the actual state park is close enough to hike on a whim. The taxes stay friendly up here, and the no-income tax rule follows you right up the side of the mountain. Your retirement money, your remote paycheck, your side business, the state doesn't touch any of it. The catch is the seasons, and it's an honest one. This is tourism country, which means the roads fill up when the leaves turn and empty out when they don't. And plateau winters bite a good deal harder than flatlanders expect. That pretty road to your cabin can turn slick and lonely in January, and the power can blink out in an ice storm. Worth knowing before you sign, not after. Quick thing, before we keep climbing. If you're getting real value out of this, if you're the kind of person who's genuinely pausing to write down county names right now, do me one small favor and tap that like button. It costs you nothing, and it honestly helps this video reach other people out there hunting for the same thing you are. That's the whole ask. No big speech.
Before we continue, I want to show you something amazing. We put together a simple guide for the people who really care about these stories. Because whether we're talking about old school food, forgotten trade, one truth remains the same. History is disappearing. This is for anyone who believes these memories, these lessons, these ways of life are still worth keeping. You can find it in the link in the description below, or you can scan the QR code right here.
Number 10. White County, right around Sparta, still up on the plateau but closer to real towns. Now we're into homes that need a little love but sit on genuinely good land. A farmhouse on 5 acres, mostly cleared and flat. Great garden ground. Priced around $135,000. 5 flat, workable acres this close to a real town is getting harder to find every single year. And the folks who farm know it. Sparta's got groceries, a hospital, a hardware store, the things you actually need when you live in the country and you're still fully out in the country the moment you turn down your own driveway. Deer in the field at dusk, stars you forgot existed, and pavement to town in 15 minutes. The property tax stays low, a genuine relief after wherever you're moving from, and you already know the income tax story by heart at this point in the video. The catch. The kitchen is straight out of a 1970s catalog, and the roof is on borrowed time, maybe a couple more winters. Budget for both upfront, so they're not a surprise. But hear me on this. You're buying the land and you're buying the location, and neither one of those can be renovated in. The dated kitchen you can rip out in a weekend. Flat, tillable ground next to a growing town that you cannot manufacture. Number 9 goes deeper into the trees than anything so far. Number 9. Fentress County, up around Jamestown, near the Kentucky line and the big South Fork country. 12 acres of hardwood forest and a solid plain home in the middle of it. Around $110,000. 12 acres. Say that number out loud and let it breathe. Deer trails winding through the hardwoods, a spring bubbling up cold on the property, timber you own outright and could selectively cut for firewood for the rest of your life. The house is nothing fancy, plain and square. And that's exactly the point, because the money went into the land, and the land out here is spectacular. This is homestead country, off-grid dreamer country, the whole self-reliant fantasy made real for the price of a mid-sized sedan. Low taxes, no state income tax, and enough acreage that your nearest neighbor is more of a rumor than a fact. If privacy has a price, out here it's shockingly reasonable. The honest catch: everything is a drive from Fentress, town is a drive, work, if you have to commute, is a serious drive. The hospital is real drive, and that's the one that matters most as you get older. So think hard about it. Fentress is beautiful and remote in equal measure. And you have to genuinely want that life, not just like the idea of it, on a nice Tuesday in October. Number 8 is the one you absolutely need to hear if you're the type who likes to wait and think it over. Number 8, Putnam County, Cookeville. And I'm putting this one here on purpose because Cookeville is the warning shot for this entire list. A brick home on 5 acres on the edge of town, around $165,000. It's a good house on good land, with good schools a short drive away. Here's why it matters, and why it's sitting right in the middle of this list. Cookeville is booming, plain and simple. It's got the university pumping out graduates and pulling in families. It's got jobs and a real downtown that got fixed up. And it sits almost exactly halfway between Nashville and Knoxville on the interstate, which means people getting priced out of both cities are looking at Cookeville and thinking, that'll do just fine. 5 good acres this close to a growing city at this price is the kind of thing people will look back on in a few short years and quietly shake their heads at what they let slip. Taxes low, income tax non-existent. All of it still true up here. The catch is the entire reason I put this one on the list at all. The growth isn't coming to Putnam County. It's already here, it's accelerating, and it is not slowing down for you or anybody else. This exact property, at this exact price, is the part of Tennessee that is vanishing the fastest, right in front of everyone. If you've been sitting around waiting for some kind of sign that the window is real, this county is the sign flashing in neon. The clock is ticking, and out here you can very nearly hear it counting down. Number 7 backs us off the gas a little. Number 7. Cumberland County, over in Crossville, still on the plateau, right in the heart of Tennessee's retirement and golf country. A tidy home on 5 acres, around $149,000. Established trees, a real driveway, the works. Crossville figured out its own appeal a long time ago, and it's never been shy about it. Mild seasons for the mountains, a genuinely low cost of living, golf courses tucked into the hills, and a whole standing community of people who moved here from somewhere colder and more expensive and never once looked back. 5 established acres near town for under $150,000 keeps that dream wide open. And the house on this one is turnkey. No drama. The property tax stays gentle. Gentle enough that you'll read the bill twice, and there's still no state income tax touching your retirement money, which is a genuinely big deal if you're living on a fixed number that has to last. The catch out here is practical, not romantic. Check the septic and check the well before you do anything else, because plenty of these plateau properties run on both, and a tired system is an expensive and smelly surprise on move-in day. Get it inspected, get it in writing, then go enjoy the quiet you paid for. Now we point the truck northeast and head for some of the most beautiful and least known country in the entire state. Number 6. Grainger County, near Rutledge, in the lake country between Knoxville and the mountains. Cherokee Lake sits nearby, and the land starts to roll and lift toward the ridges. A comfortable home on 8 acres, around $155,000. This is Upper East Tennessee, and I'll say it plainly, it might be the prettiest region on this entire list. 8 acres, Cherokee Lake, close enough for a Saturday on the water. and the blue wall of the Smokies out on the horizon on a clear day. You get true country living with Knoxville's airport, its hospitals, and its shopping all inside an hour's drive. That combination, real land and real access, is the one everybody actually wants and almost nobody can afford anymore. Low taxes, no income tax, the whole familiar Tennessee package, except now there's a mountain view thrown in at no extra charge. The catch: Knoxville is spilling out in this exact direction, and Grainger County is catching the overflow the way a low field catches rain. This corner is heating up quietly. Right now, the same way Cookeville did a handful of years back before everyone noticed. It's still a real deal today. But notice how much work that word today is doing in that sentence. Number 5 climbs us up higher, right onto the mountain itself. Number 5, Hawkins County up against Clinch Mountain itself. 15 acres this time, with a home perch to catch a long view down the valley, around $175,000. When the fog fills the valley in the morning and the ridgeline floats on top of it, you'll forget what you paid. 15 acres. Long-range mountain views that stack ridge behind ridge behind ridge. A solid house that needs nothing urgent. And a price that, back where a lot of you are watching from tonight, wouldn't cover the down payment on a starter condo with no yard and a shared wall. This is the kind of view people fly across the country and pay a fortune to rent for a weekend. And out here, you can own it outright and wake up to it every single morning for the rest of your life. Taxes low, income tax gone. The pattern holds true all the way up the side of the mountain. The honest catch, and it's a modern one. Way out here on Clinch Mountain, cell signal gets thin and truly reliable internet is not a guarantee from parcel to parcel. If you work from home, and a good number of you moving here will be doing exactly that, you have to verify the internet before you fall for the view. I mean it. A gorgeous property you cannot get a work call out of is a very expensive lesson to learn in month 2. Ask the neighbors what they use. Number 4 is the single best land per dollar number I found in the whole state, and it isn't close. Number 4, Hancock County, Sneedville, one of the most remote, least populated counties in the eastern United States, and one of the most beautiful, 20 acres and a modest home for around $99,000. 20 acres. Under $100,000, that's the best land per dollar number I found anywhere in the state. The country up here is something else entirely. Deep hollers that hold the morning fog until noon. High ridges you can see 3 states from. The Clinch River cutting clean through the bottoms, and a stillness that is genuinely, almost eerily hard to find anywhere in America anymore. 20 acres of all of that, every bit of it yours, for right around the price of a nice new car that would just depreciate in a driveway instead. Property taxes here are about as low as they get anywhere in the 50 states, and there's no state income tax, the same as every single stop on this list. The catch is real, and I won't dress it up for you because that would be doing you a disservice. Hancock is remote, and it's historically been one of the poorer counties in Tennessee. Services are far. Steady jobs are far. A good hospital is far. This is a place you come to deliberately get away from everything, and it delivers on that promise completely, for better and for worse, in equal measure. If you go in with your eyes wide open, 20 acres for under $100,000 is a miracle. If you go in expecting town conveniences, you'll be miserable by spring. Number 3 brings the comfort back. Number 3. Down toward the Jefferson County line, in the ridge and valley country east of Knoxville, a newer home on 6 acres with a ridge view, around $189,000. This is the nice house and good land tier, where you stop compromising on the structure and start paying for it. 6 acres. A home that needs absolutely nothing done to it. A clean view of the ridgeline out the back windows, and you're still close enough to the interstate and to Knoxville to hold down a normal job and live a normal life. No four-wheel drive required to get groceries. This is what a whole lot of families are actually after when they say they want land. Room to breathe, a place for the kids and the dog, but not the literal end of the earth where the school bus won't come. Low taxes, no income tax, and enough acreage that you feel when you pull in at night like you've genuinely arrived somewhere that's yours. The catch here is a quiet paperwork one, so don't let it slide. Confirm the water situation carefully, whether it's a private well, a shared well with the neighbors, or a community system, because those arrangements out in the ridge country can get tangled, and you want every bit of it sorted and signed before you ever get to the closing table. Number 2 drops us into one of the most striking valleys in the entire South. Number 2, the Sequatchie Valley over on the western edge of the eastern mountains, where a long straight valley runs between two walls of ridge, like something carved on purpose. 10 acres here, part valley floor, part rising toward the mountain, with a good home, around $210,000. The Sequatchie Valley is one of those places that quite literally makes people pull the car over and just stare. It's one of the longest straight valleys of its kind in the world. A flat green ribbon of fertile bottomland running dead straight between two long walls of mountain, mile after mile. 10 acres of that, part rich valley floor for growing absolutely anything, part rising up toward the timbered slope, with a good home on it you'd be happy to bring people home to. And it's still priced like an ordinary small-town house in a lot of the rest of the country. The taxes stay Tennessee low. The income tax stays flat at 0, and the value on paper just keeps quietly stacking up the longer you look at it. The catch is the one that ties this entire video together in a bow. $210,000 is the top of our range on this list, and this next part should stop you cold. 5 years ago, this same valley, this same kind of parcel, was a good bit less than that. The Sequatchie's been discovered. The word is out. The prices are climbing steadily right now. It is still a deal today, but that word still is doing the heaviest lifting of anything I've said in 20 minutes. Which brings us, at last, to the top of the whole list. Number 1. And I saved this one for the end on purpose, because it isn't the cheapest, and it isn't supposed to be. Up in the Clinch mountain country of Upper East Tennessee, there's a homestead on a knob, 18 acres, with a creek down one side and a view that runs for miles across ridge after blue ridge, fading lighter as they go. Around $250,000. Stand on that porch at sunset. The valley goes gold, then rose, then that deep Appalachian blue, and the ridges stack up to the horizon like waves that stopped moving. 18 acres of your own between you and all of it. A creek you can hear from the bedroom window. This is the you never leave place. This is the one people picture when they close their eyes and imagine getting out. No state income tax on a single dollar you bring here. Property taxes so low, you'll double check the bill. And land that in almost any other beautiful place in America would cost you 3 or 4 times as much. Here's the honest catch, and it's the truest one on the list. This is the priciest home we've looked at, and that's not a warning about this house. It's a warning about all of Tennessee. Because everything on this list, the $34,000 fixer, the 16-acre steel, the 20 acres in Hancock County, all of it is quietly climbing toward numbers like this. 1. That's the direction. That's the clock. The real treasure in Tennessee was never the cheap house. It was always the land, the hollers and the ridges and the creek bottoms and the long blue views that people have loved for 200 years. The reason the price matters, the reason the clock matters, is that for a little while longer, an ordinary person can still own a piece of it. You could be standing on your own porch on that ridge by fall. That's not a sales line. That's just arithmetic if you move before the window closes. If this video helped you, If you're serious about finding your own piece of it, subscribe so you catch the next one. Because I'm out here every week finding the deals before they disappear. And send this to the one person you already know is dreaming about the same thing. They'll thank you when they're the one on the porch. I'll see you in the next one.